Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Buddy. I'm your host Josh Blumenkrantz, and I have a very special guest with me today, Ilana Kohanchi. And you've seen her in several things. You've seen her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Veep, Newsroom, WandaVision, even just to name a few. There's like so many cool projects that I'm very excited. And she's going to be talking about one of her upcoming ones, M.I.A, new show on Peacock, and some other things. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, welcome to the show, Ilana Kohanchi. Ilana, my friend, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here, Josh. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So yeah, we go way back, guys, to acting class. So my first question for you, Alana, just for like all the actors, what did you remember about acting class, and how has that kind of shaped you today as an actor?
Oh, wow. I'm a big proponent of class in general, like for actors. Like I think that you never are done, like you never know everything.
Hmm.
Everybody, coaches have coaches and people who train for the Olympics, they go to coaches and they keep practicing. So I don't think anyone's ever like done like, okay, I've had enough practice, I'm good. I think
Yeah,
it's just like it's beneficial forever. The class that we were in together, I really loved. It was with Robert Devanzo, and that was back in the in-person days.
yes,
um, Pre-COVID, the world's a little different now
definitely.
with everything on Zoom. But no, I loved it, and I just remember feeling like a sense of like camaraderie and just always wanting to be around like other actors who also want to work on their craft.
Yeah, and then you always made like such interesting instincts and choices in that class. What do you think that comes from for you?
If we knew where our instincts came from, we would just bottle it up and sell it, right? I
I
think
know.
that I believe in like really, really following your instinct as much as possible when it comes to acting, because I think that that's sort of the only thing that makes all of us unique. Like we all have our own instincts and they're very specific to us. So like
Mm.
while we can all learn technique and we can all sort of follow whatever the script says, like I think that the instincts are just what make us unique. And so I think that it's as important, like I think it's the most important thing for actors to do is to just like follow their instincts, and like where it comes from I don't know, but I don't think we need to know. I think it's just the ability to listen to it and just do it.
I mean, listening is very important. You apply it to your skill set, and as you change as time goes on. And speaking of changes, a lot has changed with you since I last saw you. You've become a mother
I
and a
have.
wife. How has that
Yeah.
like changed you, influenced you as an artist now?
So much. So much. Like it's so funny because I remember thinking, and I think it was actually our acting teacher who said that, I think, well, maybe it wasn't. I don't remember, but there was an acting teacher who said when you're playing a parent, then, the closest thing you can feel to your character is to think of the child as like a little you.
Hmm.
Um, and that's kind of true, but it's like the real feeling of being a parent is so different from anything that I had felt prior to that. I mean, like the closest thing I guess would be like being a pet parent, like how, I
Yeah.
had pets before, and that's like kind of not obviously not like it, but that there's nothing in life, I think, for me at least, that replicates that. And so I think since becoming a mom, that has really informed my acting, specifically when I play a mom, because
Ah.
like now I really, really know what that means, like deep inside. So I think that I think every experience that happens to you in life can only make you grow as an actor, because now you have something else to know, to pull from, to have wisdom from. So
No, I
in a
love it.
way,
Like you're, it's like new life experiences for you, and you're
yeah,
just evolving with it, which is super
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And then you talk about like instinct and preparation. Do you think it's like a balance of both for you?
Well, so I think that the preparation is learning how to listen to your instinct, like that. Like there's the preparation with the scene or with the script, obviously, right? Like that's,
Yeah.
can't not do that. um but the general sort of preparation of your instrument to me is like you're training regularly so that in the moment when you get the audition, in the moment where you're on set, you don't have trouble like digging deep inside of yourself to feel those instincts, to access those emotions, because they're just trained, right? So I
Hmm.
think that's where the daily preparation is. And
For
then
sure.
when you get a script, then it's a whole different, that's a preparation of like scene analysis and whatever. So yeah, both are important.
No, absolutely. And you're so thorough with it, which I always admired about you. And speaking of your skill set, you are fluent, let me see if I get this right, in several languages: Farsi, French, Italian, Russian, and Spanish. How do you,
And
those multiple
English.
languages, and English, of course, duh. And
Yeah.
how do multiple languages shape how you connect to your characters now?
It's helped me a lot. You know, it's weird that it's helped me as much as it has because I didn't like I was really lucky to have learned most of the languages as a kid. And
Oh,
you know, kids they just like their brains just kind of absorb things like little sponges. So I never had to like work at it. A couple languages I learned as an adult, and that was for sure harder. But most of them I was exposed to as a child, and so I just grew up speaking different languages, and it's helped me a lot in my acting career just because it just gives me access to different characters that I wouldn't otherwise be considered for, you know?
hmm.
And so that alone obviously has helped me just like in terms of opportunities, like getting auditions. And then there's a thing where people who are like bilingual, trilingual will agree. I don't know if you speak another language. Um,
So so.
Kind of, right? But
A
so
little Italian, but barely
there,
borderline.
cool, okay. But
Cozy,
then
cozy.
when you speak a certain language, sometimes you feel different, right? Like you feel like if
Yeah.
you were to put on a costume or so you're accessing like your mannerisms become different because they're different
Hmm.
in that language. And suddenly the cultural aspects of that culture, whatever that language belongs to, appear in you, in your body. And so you show up differently for this character and you have more instinctual things, I guess, that are informed by that then help you. So it helps me.
Absolutely. No, you're so right. Because like the different culture, it does kind of change how you present yourself, which is so fascinating to me. I never really thought about it, but it makes a lot of sense. And then let's talk about your awesome career. So the first thing I saw you in was Nowhere Girl, and I just wanted to know like any memories from that film. Like your performance was so like heartwarming. I loved it personally like so much. I was such a supporter of it for you. Yeah, it was a good introduction to you as an actor. But yeah, just tell me, what did you think of Nowhere Girl for you?
I mean, I was super touched that you watched it, by the way, back then, even I will say.
Oh,
So I always remembered that. I was like, oh my, that was really touching to me because that movie I loved so much. Like, I really, that was probably my first lead role in a feature film.
mm,
And it was such a, like you said, heartwarming script. And so that character and that whole experience, all of it had a little piece of my heart. Like I really, really just loved it so much. And I loved everything about making that movie.
mhm.
Um, so it's still one of my favorites. So you guys, if you haven't seen it, go
Gotta
on
go check it
Amazon
out.
Prime and watch it.
Amazon Prime, yeah, so great. Love it. Love the whole like rom com aspect. Your character's so like so much fun.
Yeah,
Honestly, like I would
I
go
love
out to
rom
like
com.
lunch with her.
It,
Yeah,
me too. I'm like, oh, look, she's imaginary, so good luck. But
I know.
I love rom coms. I really, that's like my jam. I would, that's always
Same
my
here.
favorite genre.
And speaking of movies, you've worked across various projects, like indie projects, larger productions. What's the biggest difference in those kind of experiences for you?
Like between indie and like studio films.
Yeah.
Okay, so huge difference. Obviously, I'll tell you. So like indie films, um, obviously they have a budget. And so
Hmm.
though it might seem like a lot of money for movie making, usually it isn't. And that means that everybody who's on the set now has that much more responsibility from the crew, you know, the director, the producers, the actors, everybody, because now you can't sort of rely on the budget to do the things for you, right? And so,
Hmm.
and people know that. And so you have a sense of like time is money. Like always you have that sense on
Yeah.
set, but like it's a little bit more, there's a little more responsibility there. And so everybody feels more like a family who's involved in making this thing versus just like showing up to work, you know, doing it and leaving just because the stakes, you know, like there's just not extra budget to rely on in that way. And so I think, but you also get to feel more like obviously we're not the creator, like I've never like produced a movie or directed a movie or anything, but like I've felt more connected as like almost like a creator of the project just because, you know, it's so like from the ground up, you
Hmm.
know, and so you have that. Now, when a studio film, God willing, I'll be lucky enough to work on many more.
Yes.
But I've only had a little bit of experience. Like I did Jungle Cruise with
Ah,
Dwayne Johnson, The Rock,
yes.
and I played and Emily Blunt's in that, but I never worked with her.
Hmm.
But so with The Rock, I played his love interest in the movie. Ended up getting cut out right before it
Mm.
was released, which was so sad. They cut like half the movie, so it wasn't personal.
It's okay.
But it was such a great experience because I mean that Disney, like they had a $200 million budget, like it was crazy the just the sets that they could build, and you
Yeah.
know the number of people just who are working on a project like that. You know, you have like hundreds and hundreds of people on the set, so it's amazing to get to be a part of something like that. And obviously it's more professional because they just have the budget to do it. So I felt
Hmm.
really lucky to work on that and hopefully have more studio films with bigger parts in the future.
Oh, absolutely. I'm manifesting that for you. And I think it's so cool that like you worked on, like I said, variety of different things, like the indie films, the studio films.
Yeah.
Has there been a project or like role that has challenged you or pushed you out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, a few. Yes, but I think that's great. I think being pushed out of your comfort zone is fantastic for an actor because like your character can also be pushed out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they're going through that. So you going through that at the same time can only help. So like it's good. I would say twice I felt on an indie project that I was really pushed out of my comfort zone. Once was years ago. I did a film called Pseudo,
Hmm.
and that touched on a lot of like mental illness and just my character was in a position that she didn't expect to be in, and so she like comes from Czechoslovakia, marries this American guy, like thinks everything's all dandy, and then turns out, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it turns out that he is unwell in a way that she did not know about. And so it was a very shocking like revelation for me and for the character.
Hmm.
And so that, and then we had to do like fight sequence, and so we worked with like a stunt coordinator, and so that was new for me. So that definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. And then a film I just shot, like last like just fresh just shot it like last month, is a new feature film, obviously hasn't come out yet, called Anna the Cleaner.
Oh,
Super exciting murder mystery, like you guys are gonna love it. But my character in the movie is Ukrainian, and so
very
I'm
cool.
very cool. And so when you talk about like languages and stuff, so I'm Ukrainian because so like my mom and my mom's side of the family are from Ukraine, but then I was born in Russia. And so I grew up speaking Russian, and that's what I still speak. I don't actually speak Ukrainian because at the time when my family like immigrated, people there only spoke Russian. And then
Mm.
now, ever since the war started, people in Ukraine are switching to actually speaking Ukrainian,
Oh, I
but
didn't know that.
to like have a national language. I didn't know that either. And,
Yeah.
and then I booked this movie and I'm so excited about it. And by the way, nobody asked me at any point if I speak Ukrainian, and I don't. So I
Wow.
was like, well, I can learn, right?
Hmm.
And so I learned. And I think my character had like maybe 10 or 15 lines in Ukrainian in the whole movie. The rest of it, she speaks English and her Ukrainian accent. But then I had like learned the pronunciation of those things in Ukrainian, and it's similar enough to Russian, like I could get by, you know, and understand. And I had like learned the pronunciation, done everything like correctly.
Hmm.
And then I get to set, and then they're like, oh, so writer doesn't speak Ukrainian. This apparently it doesn't sound natural in Ukrainian. We've changed it all. Here you go. And I never even got to see it on paper. Like it was literally like I heard it once and then we were filming. So that was out of my comfort zone for sure. Cause I'm very good at lines and things changing on the fly when I understand them, like
Hmm.
in English or in any
Yeah.
language that I speak. But when it's a language you don't speak and things are changing as you're going, that I was out of my comfort zone, but hopefully it turned out well. And here
Oh,
we
I'm sure it did. You're a great actress. Come on.
Thank you.
And yeah, like I said, you do a lot of like different languages and stuff, but I love your comedy skill set as well. So one I want to particularly talk about, which I was very excited, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I watched that show actually late to the party. I binged the entire thing during lockdown because like, we just needed
Cool.
like something feel good just to kind of get us through. And then when I saw you popped up, your character's name is Lexi. You were so funny, and you're basically like the catalyst for Jake and Amy to kind of get together. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what that experience was like and what was like filming that.
I loved working on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like you said, comedy. I love comedy. Like like I said, I love rom-coms. I love comedy. Like I love everything. But like that,
Yeah.
if I could do whatever I wanted, like I feel very comfortable in comedy. And so that's obviously a single camera comedy. So it's like more natural. Lots of improv on that set. They're very like open to things. So they'll sort of do it many many times, and they have like their by the book, by the script way, and then they'll be like, okay, now like just throw it around kind of thing. And so you get opportunities to like try different things, which on a lot of TV shows they will not let you do that just because the time doesn't allow it. And obviously, like I said, days on set are expensive for production, and so they just can't always, especially if you're not like the lead of the show or a series regular or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I really appreciated that they kind of let us do that. And it was really fun. I love that character. I like,
Oh yeah.
Lexi's a blast. Yeah. So I really liked working on that set for sure.
Oh yeah. She's so much fun. Did you ever watch the show like before, like filming it or?
I didn't. I have a rule or whatever. So every time I get an audition, I watch, if it's not a show that I already watch, I will watch an episode so that I
Mhm.
understand the tone because it's really
Got
important.
you.
But I just don't have time to watch every show, beginning to end. And I think only now I'm working on a show that I actually watched before filming it. I think every other show I've ever done, I hadn't actually watched the whole show before filming it. I would just watch
Mhm.
like an episode, understand the tone, understand what's happening, like in the script at the point where my character comes in. But no, I didn't actually watch that show before. But it's a good show and it's funny.
It is. No, I recommend. And
Yeah.
then jumping over to other projects you worked on, the Newsroom. Yeah, the Newsroom. You play a honeymoon woman. You were speaking in another language than that, of course.
Russian.
And I
Yeah.
just wanted to know what was that experience like? Was like Aaron Sorkin there, or like I know they're very dialect specific.
Yes. So Aaron Sorkin, again, this is why tone is so, so, so important because
Hmm.
like it's a whole different world, right? Like that's infinitely different. And Aaron Sorkin is like legendary, right? He is
Yeah.
one of the greats in every way. He wasn't there in person when we were filming the newsroom, but he did call in and listen to the whole thing and give notes to each person individually on the phone,
Oh
including
wow.
me. Like, I mean, I can tell you that was relatively early in my TV career. And when Aaron Sorkin said, "Good job, Ilana," I about died.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I'm good. So that was really exciting for me. The newsroom, that's where the words are super important. So I, in general, like as an actress, I never care about words. Like you have to say them, but I always think
Yes.
that the words you say are the least interesting thing about your character. Like so
Hmm.
I don't just because I notice a lot of people like get tripped up on like, oh, I need to, memorize the lines and be word perfect. Sometimes you do. Like there are like Aaron Sorkin has to be word perfect because that's where the writing is really and the pacing is very important, and so there you have to be word perfect. But in a lot of things I don't like the words are the last thing I do. I like first I figure out what does my character want? Like what am I going for? What am I trying to get? How do I feel? And then the words come out. But that's not what I'm not sitting there with a paper like blah blah, blah because I'm just like then that's not I don't think that that's helpful because then you're going to get a cadence in my opinion. Sort of get stuck in a rhythm with the words and then have to say them the same way and then that's not life. So I never care about words, though you of course have to say them. and but with Aaron Sorkin, whole different ball game. Like
Yeah.
word perfect is crucial, and the pacing is like people know that on an Aaron Sorkin show or movie, like the pacing is really fast paced, and you have to keep up with that because otherwise you get out of the world of like, and especially on the newsroom, it was very much that, and so that was really really important. Yeah.
No, I loved your character on that. It was like you said, you're speaking another language. You fit that world like so perfectly. And yeah, Sorkin, like I said, he's very big on word perfects. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see his new movie, The Social Reckoning, coming out later this year. So I'm sure that's gonna be very exciting.
Yeah, me too.
Jumping over to another show, you love working on HBO, Veep. You appeared as Lia Tanz. What was it like working on that political like comedy show?
Yeah, Veep was great. Yes, HBO, I worked on HBO multiple times. I was so happy because I think HBO shows are like on another level. I think that they're really known for like excellence. And so Veep was super cool because on that one, the writers were actually on set. And so they would change things as you go. So while
Mm,
like, it was different than like, let's say Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something, there wasn't like a ton of room for improv, but the writers would be sitting there watching the scene and they'd be like, okay, now we're going to change everything. You say this, you say this, you say this, like, let's try it like that. And so it was very like, kind of like you have to be on your feet, on your toes, because everything just like is changing every second. But it's super exciting. And yeah, I loved that.
I mean, like I said, you're just like a chameleon. You're just jumping from like one show to the next, but you use your skill set to like really fit the character, which is really awesome. And then here's another big one that I really loved, WandaVision. Sure, you get this a lot. You played Wanda's mother. I want to know, what was it like for you stepping into the Marvel world, and did you create like a backstory for that character? Like, it just seemed like a pretty cool experience, I bet.
That was incredible. Like I felt really lucky because the MCU has fans that are spanning decades. Like that world, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is something that like being a part of that feels so big. Like it
Hmm.
feels so much bigger than, me or whatever, because it's just those fans take it so seriously. And so I will say that after working on that, I did so many of these like lives and interviews and everything. And I was getting just every day, like I was getting
Yeah.
invitations for these things because people just like want to know about Marvel. Like they love Marvel, whatever. But Marvel is also top secret. So
Yes, they
like
are.
because again the stories span over so many movies and so many shows and so many, so unlike anything I'd ever worked on, I knew nothing, like nothing. When I walked in, they gave me nothing. I did not know what I was auditioning for. I didn't know,
Oh,
like everything had a code name, everything was top secret. They took away everything after I left. That's which is insane because like
wow.
usually you show up to work on a show, like let's say you show up on a studio lot, so you get like your map to go in, you get your little pass, you have your sides that are like miniature, you have your like your contracts, like you have everything, you have stuff, and you leave with stuff.
Hmm.
When I left that set, like it was as though I had never been there. They took everything. They were like down to the last paper, and there were no phones on set. There are signs everywhere that say if you see someone with a cell phone, you have to report them. Like there's security everywhere, making sure that nobody takes pictures, nobody like top secret, and like
Hmm.
obviously could not talk about that until it came out like at all. So obviously by the time I shot it, I understood that it was Marvel and like the show hadn't come out yet, but I understood what the tone of the show was. Um, but and I knew who my character was, obviously, but that was about it. Like, and I remember we were in the trailers beforehand, so it was like me and then the actor who Danyar who played Wanda's dad, and then
Hmm.
little Wanda and little Pietro, and we all got together and we were just like piecing a puzzle together. We were like, okay, like what's happening here? What's the backstory? How do we? Because there's nothing. Like
Yeah.
it's you really just you get nothing. And so that was a fun challenge, but I was so grateful because like being part of that world, I mean, is so incredible. It's such a good show, so well produced,
So
so well
great.
made. And my hope is that now they're stuck with me. So if they ever make like a Wanda movie backstory,
That's true. I mean, you're Wanda's mother. I mean, and there's also the catalyst for that episode and her emotions, where she's at, like her headspace and everything. So I just thought that was really cool. I was so proud of you for that. That was just like
Thank you
amazing.
so much. Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited to work on that. And then a lot of people also, like I said, the fans, there's so
Hmm.
many fan theories about Marvel. And so like when I did some, internet digging after the fact, like people have stories about my character, where they think she came from, like how they, what they think happened to her, so you can read about it. I mean, if you do a deep dive, but it's
You're part
super.
of the threads now. You're part of like everything, the Reddit groups,
Yeah, I
everywhere.
really am. I'm like, oh my gosh, my name's yeah. So that's exciting for sure.
Oh, amazing. And another thing I stumbled upon before we jump into your like current upcoming stuff, you were in a commercial for Axe, and Ted was there.
Yeah, well,
What
yeah,
was that
it was a
like?
TED commercial. So that was incredible. So that was with Seth MacFarlane.
Hmm.
Obviously he plays Ted and he directed it and voices Ted. Um, so much fun. Okay, I will tell you that that wasn't just a commercial for Axe, that was a commercial for the movie Ted.
The
It was
first
like
one.
a two in one. So in the first one, they
Mhm.
actually played that. It would air in movie theaters before the movie. So that was, exciting, big screen, whatever. But yeah, that commercial obviously it became very popular. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was like a when Harry met Sally moment,
Hmm.
and so again, I love like comedy and everything. So that was my jam. But I didn't know. So this is like embarrassing, but this happens to me all the time.
For sure.
I didn't know who, like, obviously I knew who Seth MacFarlane was,
Okay.
but this was very early in my career and I didn't know what he looked like. Like I had never like looked him up. And so
Hmm.
I didn't know. So with like commercials, you come in for the audition, it's you and the casting director and a camera, right? That's
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
Then they send those tapes to whatever. And then when you come in for the callback, for a commercial callback, you have a panel. So there's a whole panel and there's like 10 people. And so usually it's the client, maybe the advertising company, and then you have the casting directors, the director, the producers, like there's just a bunch of people. And so I was just sort of trained to never pay attention to that. And I would just like come in, do my work, and leave. And what I didn't know is that at the callback, it was Seth MacFarlane who was there directing
Oh
the
wow.
callback and telling me what to do. And I just didn't know that it was him or who it was.
Mm.
And so this was like a kind of naive mistake that worked in my favor, because I also didn't get nervous, because I didn't know that I'm here with like this super famous director. And I guess maybe some of the other girls who auditioned were a bit nervous because they knew, and I didn't. So I think that helped me book it.
Yeah.
My naivete, in that sense. But no, that was incredible. It was also the first time that another embarrassing thing of just like, this is again early in my career. I when I showed up to set for that for Ted, I had done I go to the like I had done the fitting the day before. I'd go to the hair and makeup. They do like my hair and makeup. I'm like fully ready in the dress, whatever. They walk me to set. I get there and they introduce me. And again, you have to think, I didn't have that much experience at this point. They
Yeah.
introduced me to a woman who has long brown hair and kind of looks like me. And she's wearing the same dress and she has her hair and makeup done and everything. And I was like, and they go, hi, this is, so and so. And they give her name. And I shake hands and I'm like, in my head, in my, in actor's head, I was like, they're firing me and they're introducing me to my replacement. And then I was like, how are they doing this? Like, and then they go, this is your stand-in. And I was like, oh, my stand-in, of course, right? Hi, nice to meet you. Because I had never had a stand-in up until that
Hmm.
moment. It was just me, and so I didn't know. And it was like a really funny, embarrassing moment too, but it was funny. So
No, I loved it. It was so funny.
yeah.
And then let's talk about your current work. M.I.A. It's coming out on Peacock. Just tell the viewers a little bit about it. What is that about?
Okay, so I'm really excited. It's such a good show. It comes out May 7th on Peacock. It's by the same creators as Ozark. So if
Oh,
you ever watched Ozark, it's got that, cartel kind of gritty vibe. Takes place in Miami. It's about a girl who her family was killed by the cartel, and so she goes to try to get revenge. And she, in the process, she goes to like a nightclub that her aunt owns, to try to work undercover as like a bar back to try to, find these criminals. And so
Hmm.
as she's doing it, she works at this bar where like everything takes place. And then I play the head bartender at that bar who's like her boss. So it's a recurring role. It's a great show. I hope you guys like it. And yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And then we're running low on time, but just to kind of finish it up, is there any particular role that you haven't played that you're like dying to play, or anyone you're willing to work with?
Yeah. Yes. I have some dream roles. Well, there was one back in the day that I didn't get, obviously, that I auditioned for, that it was always like the one that got away, which was Mrs. Maisel. You
Mm.
remember if it was
You have been
on.
so good on that. Yeah.
I auditioned for it. I got kind of close with Midge. I mean, I loved it so much, but obviously that would have been like a dream role. Um,
Hmm.
and then now I'm really into romantasy and like fantasy romantasy, and I'm into the books, and like, Fourth Wing is coming out, so on Amazon, and I would love to like be a part of that. That's
Hmm.
being made by Michael B. Jordan.
Yes,
And
yes.
then there's another one that's like my dream role, which is, it's a similar kind of vibe, not like as popular yet, called Everflame.
Hmm.
And I have my eye on a specific character in that series,
Ooh.
um, named Ursel, but I won't say more for now, but hopefully, you know, the people who need to know will hear this message. But yeah, that's a dream role for me for sure. It's something that I like have never quite identified with the character as much as when I read this and I like fell in love with her and I was like, it's me. So
Awesome.
yeah.
And then Alana, last question just to close it out. If you could go back and talk to yourself in acting class, what would you say to yourself?
Man, that's a good question. Um, I would say, oh wow, what would I tell myself back then? Um, and this is something that our teacher always said, but like trust yourself, like you're
Yes.
enough, like things like that. I think that, you know, I would have reminded myself to trust myself, because like the most interesting things about a character that you find are in you, and so they're not necessarily like taught, they're just there. And so I think that's something that I would have told myself, to like trust myself with that, because I had it inside me and I just didn't know that I
Mm. Aw, that's so
did.
sweet. That's really good for all the aspiring actors out there. But yeah, Alana, this has been great. It's been so great to catch up with you and just kind of go through your entire career. And I'm very excited to see your upcoming show, M.I.A., premiering on Peacock later this month. And so you can tell the viewers where they can find you on any social media platforms.
Yes, I'm terrible at social media, but please, yes, follow me on Instagram. It's just my name, Ilana_Kohanchi. Um, yeah, I'm, again, not great at social media, but if you watch my stuff, that will make me very happy. I also have a movie coming out, The Second Coming of John Cooper. It comes out June 9th, June
Oh,
9th or July 9th, on like all the, Voodoo, Google Play, iTunes, all those things. So that one is also like a mockumentary comedy. You guys will like it. So watch that too.
awesome, awesome. Well, Alana, my friend, thank you so much for doing this. I greatly appreciate it. And thanks for watching the movie, buddy. Until next time, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.